Welcome to AI History. Today we will be taking a comprehensive look at one of the most influential empires in world history, the Roman Empire. Our aim is to provide a detailed overview of the rise and fall of the Roman Empire, covering its social, political, and economic structures in depth. The founding of Rome is shrouded in legend and myth, making it difficult to separate fact from fiction. According to the most widely accepted tale, Rome was founded in 753 BC by twin brothers, Romulus and Remus. The story goes that they were abandoned as infants and left to die by the banks of the Tiber River. However, they were rescued and raised by a she-wolf, who fed and cared for them until they were old enough to survive on their own. As they grew up, they decided to found a city on the site where they had been rescued. The early history of Rome is also closely tied to the legend of Aeneas, a Trojan hero who fled to Italy after the fall of Troy. According to legend, Aeneas married the daughter of King Latinus and founded a city called Lavinium. His son Ascanius went on to found the city of Alba Longa, which eventually gave rise to Rome. The early Romans were a simple agricultural people who lived in small villages and subsisted on farming and herding. Over time, these villages began to merge together and form larger settlements, which eventually grew into the city of Rome. The Roman Republic was established in 509 BC following the overthrow of the last king of Rome, Tarquin the Proud. Under the Republic, power was held by two consuls, who were elected by the people to serve for 1 year. The consuls had many important responsibilities, including leading the army, administering justice, and presiding over the Senate. The Senate was composed of 300 patricians, or wealthy and influential citizens, who advised the consuls on matters of policy. Rome was known for its impressive engineering feats. The Romans built aqueducts to bring water to the city, and public baths for people to bathe and socialize in. They also built roads and bridges to connect their far-flung empire, and many of these structures still exist today. In 264 BC, Rome became embroiled in a series of wars with Carthage, known as the Punic Wars. These conflicts were fought over control of the Mediterranean, and saw some of the most famous military commanders in history, such as Hannibal and Scipio Africanus, facing off against one another. After 3 long and bloody wars, Rome emerged victorious and established itself as the dominant power in the Mediterranean world. During the late Republic, Rome was facing a series of political crises. The Roman Republic was struggling to maintain its power and authority, and it was during this time that the rise of Julius Caesar came to fruition. Born in 100 BC, Caesar was a military commander and politician who quickly rose to prominence through his military victories and his political savvy. In 59 BC, Caesar was elected consul, one of the highest offices in the Roman Republic. During his consulship, he implemented a number of significant reforms, such as land redistribution and the extension of citizenship to people outside of Rome. However, it was his military campaigns that truly cemented his legacy. He conquered Gaul, modern-day France, in a series of brutal and successful campaigns that lasted from 58 to 51 BC. Caesar's success on the battlefield, combined with his popularity among the people, made him a threat to the established order of the Republic. In 49 BC, he famously crossed the Rubicon River with his army, defying the Senate's orders and plunging the Republic into civil war. He emerged victorious and became the dictator of Rome, ruling with an iron fist until his assassination in 44 BC. After Caesar's death, a power struggle ensued, and it was not until the reign of Augustus that stability was restored to Rome. Augustus was Caesar's adopted son and the first emperor of Rome. During his long and stable reign, He implemented a number of important reforms, such as the creation of a standing army, the establishment of a system of government that would endure for centuries, and the construction of numerous public buildings and monuments. Augustus was followed by a succession of emperors, each of whom left their mark on the empire. Nero, who reigned from 54 to 68 AD, was notorious for his extravagance and his persecution of Christians. However, he was also a patron of the arts and is credited with promoting Roman culture during his reign. The daily lives of ordinary Romans were marked by relative affluence compared to other societies of the time. Citizens enjoyed access to a range of goods and services, including clothing, food, and entertainment. The Roman Empire had a well-developed system of agriculture, with rich farmland in Italy and North Africa providing the majority of the empire's food supply. Wine and olive oil were among the most important exports, while grains such as wheat and barley were staple foods. Citizens enjoyed a wide range of diversions, including chariot races, gladiator games, and theatrical performances. These public spectacles were often sponsored by wealthy citizens or the government itself, and were used as a means of promoting civic pride and loyalty. Chariot races, in particular, were hugely popular and drew crowds of thousands to the Circus Maximus, the largest arena in Rome. As the Roman Empire expanded, it faced numerous challenges and pressures that threatened its stability. In the 3rd century AD, a series of military crises and economic downturns led to widespread political instability throughout the empire. During this time, the Roman army became increasingly fragmented and divided, with military commanders often competing for power against each other. At the same time, the empire was also facing external threats from barbarian tribes that were seeking to invade and conquer Roman territory. These tribes were often drawn to the wealth and prosperity of the empire and launched frequent raids and attacks on its borders. In response, the Roman army was forced to shift its focus from expansion to defense and began building a network of fortifications and defensive structures along the borders. In AD 284, Diocletian became emperor and sought to restore stability to the empire by implementing a series of reforms. He divided the empire into 2 halves, with one ruler in the east and one in the west. He also reorganized the military and the government and implemented economic policies designed to strengthen the empire's finances. Despite these efforts, the empire continued to decline. In AD 395, the Emperor Theodosius died, and the empire was divided permanently into 2 halves. The western half centered on Rome, and the eastern half centered on Constantinople. The western half of the empire faced numerous challenges, including economic instability, political corruption, and invasions by barbarian tribes. The Roman Empire was unable to withstand the pressures that were mounting against it. In 476 AD, the barbarian leader Odoacer successfully deposed the last Roman emperor in the west, marking the official end of the Western Roman Empire. Although the Eastern Roman Empire, or Byzantine Empire, continued to survive for several more centuries, the fall of the Western Roman Empire was a significant turning point in world history, marking the end of an era of ancient civilization and the beginning of the medieval period. In conclusion, the history of the Roman Empire is a fascinating and complex story, full of triumphs and tragedies. From its humble beginnings as a small city-state to its status as a vast and powerful empire, the Roman Empire has left an indelible mark on the world. Understanding its rise and fall is essential to understanding the history of Western civilization and the world we live in today.